Chapter 5. Among the Savage. The tribe moved like wolves. No word was spoken as they led Peter through the forest. Only hand signals, grunts, and sharp whistles that carried intent without language. The people stalked the woods like ghosts, barely disturbing the undergrowth despite their numbers. Even their wolves moved in eerie silence, melting in and out of the brush as shadows. Peter walked among them as neither prisoner nor guest, more like a curiosity, a threat they hadn't decided how to handle. Ashmark stayed close to his side, and the presence of the alpha kept the others at bay. Still, many eyes lingered on Peter, not just with suspicion, but fascination. His upright gait, the clean cut of his features, the spear he held not as a savage, but as a trained soldier. He could feel their gazes burrowing into him, but he walked tall, not with arrogance, but with presence. They arrived at the village just before dusk. It wasn't built. It had grown. Tree trunks had been hollowed into dens, their branches woven into roofs. Platforms spanned across thick limbs high above, connected by rope bridges and ladders made of sinew and vine. Smoke curled from elevated hearths. Bones and beads hung from branches like wind chimes. Skins cured in the sun. Children with sharp yellow eyes scampered through the shadows. Everything felt raw, brutal, but undeniably alive. As Peter entered the clearing, conversation stopped. Dozens of eyes turned toward him. He kept his shoulders square and his expression calm. The wolves at his side, Ashmark, Trip, Redtail, seemed to mirror his posture, and that, more than anything, unsettled the tribe. The pack wasn't leashed. It was with him. The chiefess, if she was that, stood before a great fire in the village's heart. She'd stripped off the hide armor she wore in the woods, now clad only in a leather wrap that clung to her torso and left much of her muscular frame bare. Her skin was marked with soot, her hair damp from ritual cleansing. Her presence was commanding, dangerous, beautiful. Peter's eyes lingered too long, and she noticed. She smiled again, that wolfish, knowing smile that toyed with the idea of devouring him. She approached, slowly, head tilted in curiosity. There were others nearby, older warriors, tribal elders, women with painted faces, but none moved to stop her. She circled Peter again, close enough for him to feel her heat. She sniffed him once, sharp and quick, then brushed a finger along the edge of his jaw. Her nail left a faint line in the grime and blood, still crusted there. Her voice was low when she finally spoke. "You are not like the others." Peter frowned slightly. Her accent was thick, but the words were Federation standard, barely, fractured, as if learned long ago and forgotten over generations. "No," he replied, calm. "I'm not." She stepped back, gaze narrowed in scrutiny, and something else. "Why do wolves follow you?" Peter looked at Ashmark, then back at her. "I don't command them. I lead." That answer rippled through the gathered onlookers. Murmurs followed. Some looked confused, others shaken. The chiefess turned and barked a command in her native tongue. Warriors approached and gestured toward a large hollow den near the central fire. Not hostile, but clear they wanted him contained. "Watch." Peter nodded and allowed himself to be led inside. Before entering, he cast a glance back. She was still watching him. The firelight danced in her golden eyes. That night, he lay on a bed of dried moss and hides. Redtail curled near his feet. Trip dozed near the entrance, twitching in his sleep. The village outside was alive with sound, howls, drums, laughter, and the guttural tongue of a people shaped by the forest. Peter stared at the roof above. He was deep in the heart of an alien tribe that revered wolves, but had been shaped by them, hardened, pulled down into something brutal. He was not like them. He never would be, but they had seen something in him. The wolves had chosen him, and that meant something here. He didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but one thing was certain. He had arrived. Chapter 6. The Shifting Tide. Peter was not given freedom, but he was not restrained either. The den where he slept became a cage in name only. Warriors posted outside didn't point spears at him. They watched, studied. Sometimes they looked to him with curiosity, other times with wariness. But every day that passed, The hostility faded, replaced by something else. Recognition. The wolves had seen it first. Now the people were beginning to. Each morning, Peter rose before the sun and walked with Ashmark along the edge of the village. He'd learned the rhythms of place, the way warriors sparred with bone clubs and spears, the way elders taught the young to stalk silently through trees. It was a society of strength and survival, brutal, efficient, but something in Peter resisted the savagery, and the wolves responded to that. He treated the animals not as tools of war or hunting implements, but as partners. When one young wolf was limping from an injury, Peter crafted a new brace using woven bark and soft moss. The animal's handler had scoffed at first, until the wolf began walking cleanly again. Peter taught the wolves basic sign commands: flank, sit, stay, guard. They learned fast, faster than the tribe expected. Some watched with frowns, others with wonder. Ashmark, Redtail, and Trip became the center of attention. And Peter? He became something more than foreign. He became respected. The chiefess, whose name he learned was Kalani, watched him daily, sometimes from across the fire circle, sometimes in the branches above his den, crouched like a huntress. She was never subtle about her interest. Once, she approached him while he was boiling herbs for a healing salve. She crouched beside him, invading his space again without hesitation. She sniffed the mixture, then leaned closer, her shoulder brushing his. "You treat wolves like children," she said. "No," Peter replied without looking at her. "I treat them like brothers." Kehlani blinked at that. Then, to his surprise, she smiled. "They will kill for you." "I don't want them to kill for me," he said. "I want them to choose to fight with me." She studied him a moment longer, then stood and left, her expression unreadable. But that night, a gift was left outside his den. A cloak of pale fur, dyed with soft gray stripes, nearly the color of Ashmark's coat. He wore it the next morning, and no one questioned him. The ship became undeniable the day of the raid. It began with the arrival of scouts, bloodied, breathless. Another tribe, Kehlani's rival to the north, had crossed sacred territory. An insult, a threat, retaliation was demanded. Peter listened from the side as warriors gathered, painting their bodies in war marks. Their wolves were fitted with bone collars and warhide harnesses. There was no strategy, only fury, only instinct. Peter stepped forward. Kehlani's eyes narrowed. "I want to help." "You are not one of us," a warrior growled. Peter looked at Ashmark, then back to Kehlani. "The wolves are." That gave her pause. She didn't answer immediately, but then she barked an order, permission, and so Peter went to war. The battle took place in a valley of bone-dry grass and crumbling red rock. The enemy tribe waited in ambush, their warriors painted black, their wolves lean and desperate. They surged forward like a tide of teeth and claws. Peter didn't charge blindly. He gave his wolves hand signals, positioned them, split them into pairs. While the enemy pack lunged in a single wave, Peter's wolves struck from the flanks, circling, cutting off escape, driving their rivals into confusion. Peter himself fought with precision, not brute strength. He knocked a warrior unconscious with the butt of his spear, disarmed another, sent their wolf fleeing with a single sharp command. Kehlani saw it all. So did her people. The battle ended in minutes. One tribe routed. Peter's wolves stood proud and unscathed. Not just survivors, victors. Kehlani approached him on the battlefield. Blood streaked her cheek, a gash marred her arm. But her eyes burned with something between awe and hunger. "You are not one of us," she said again. Peter met her gaze. "No," he said, "but maybe I'm what you need." She didn't smile. She stepped close, closer than ever, and laid a hand flat on his chest, fingers splayed over his heart. The tribe watched. Peter didn't move. She leaned in, her voice low, hot against his neck. "You are changing them. The wolves. The people. Me." Then she pulled away, turned, and walked back toward her warriors. Peter stood alone in the valley, surrounded by watching eyes. But he no longer felt like a stranger. He was becoming something else.